Panic over. CRYSENCIO Summerville, he has a £40 million release clause, but apparently it's not quite what it appeared to be at first glance. So obviously I put the video out yesterday, which came off of the back of Gonzo's video on Hammer's Chat, which alluded to a clause in CRYSENCIO Summerville that compelled us to sell him if a £40 million bid came in. Now, there's a little bit more to it than that, as it turns out. This is usually the way with Premier League footballers' contracts. There's clauses and sub clauses and sub clauses and all of that game. But basically, if I've understood it right, and I've actually seen an article out there, I think it was on the One Football app, if I remember correctly, where it says that by all accounts, this £40 million clause only exists if the purchasing club are going to go in one fell swoop. Here's 40 million quid, West Ham United. Get on with that. If the club wants to spread it over a period of 2, 3, 4 years, whatever the length of the contract is, then that option is null and void. It's completely irrelevant as far as CRYSENCIO Summerville moving to another club is concerned. So I guess that gives us a little bit of wiggle room, because to be honest with you, look, Manchester United, as I understand it, is the player's preferred destination. From what I hear, he said to his agent, I want to go to Old Trafford ahead of any other club that declares any interest. So then that means it's the ball's in Manchester United's court, doesn't it? And it's sort of like, it's how they will respond. Before we get into all of that, if you appreciate the content that I'm kicking out here on the West Ham Massive, one of the things that would really help me would be is if you could put a like on this stream, because that's what tells the YouTube gods that I'm doing a half reasonable job. Now, I would ask you for a hype, but there was someone in the comments, and forgive me, I think it was Hammer Time. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I'm sitting in my car waiting for it to charge up, got the air conditioning on to keep myself cool. But there was someone that turned around and said that apparently the channel needs to be of a certain size before hypes become actually a thing. So, because I got told that someone tried to donate a hype and it got knocked back, which is a little bit of a pain, but I've been sitting there sort of asking you guys to hype, and it turns out that they were just getting bounced back. So never mind. But a like is a must. That is absolutely really appreciated. And if you are new around here now, the YouTube algorithms, the YouTube analytics rather, tell me that around about 60% of the people that have watched this content in the last 28 days are not subscribed to the channel. So I will do a little bit of clever editing, and I will put in the top left hand corner a QR code, and all you need to do is get your mobile device out, scan it. That will take you to our YouTube subscription page. Subscribing is free of charge. We don't get any data sensitive information. It just hopes to grow the channel into something bigger and better than what it is when you find it. Also, get a comment in the section below on this video and the topic contained within it, and any other points you want to make. And why don't you consider sharing this onto your social media platforms? So, CRYSENCIO Summerville wants to go to Manchester United. He's declared it. Now, I think the problem that's going to occur with Manchester United is, I've alluded to this previously, is about they obviously want to move Marcus Rashford on and free up A, the space in the squad, and B, get the finances in that will then allow the CRYSENCIO Summerville transaction to take place. But we can't just sort of sit here sort of waiting for Manchester United to get their affairs in order. That's a them problem. I'm like, well, if we want to get this deal ironed out so that will then allow us to do the deals that I'm sure Niels Koppen has got lined up, and I'll probably do a separate video because there's a few names now that are coming out into the public domain as to who we're going to be linked with. I mean, one of the names that's popped up only this morning, I think his name's Gustavo Sá, and he's the Portuguese under-21 central midfielder that plays for Famalicão, and he's you wouldn't be surprised to hear he's a Jorge Mendes client. So yeah, no one's sort of saying there's any brown envelopes that are going to be sort of carved out or anything like that, I'm sure. But anyway, we'll do a video about that. There's a few other names that I've seen floating around that are quite interesting, some of which Niels Koppen's actually had connections with before, and he might well revisit those relationships at London Stadium. So we'll wait and see what happens there. But CRYSENCIO Summerville, we need to get the deal done, like I say, because I get the feeling he probably doesn't want to be, maybe not that it's probably unfair to say he doesn't want to be here, but it's probably that he doesn't want to be at West Ham whilst we are languishing in the EFL Championship. It's a real shame, but if I'm being honest, I'm kind of like, look, if he doesn't want to be here, my thing has always been that once a player has just is expressed any interest in going somewhere or a lack of interest in being where they are at West Ham United, then as far as I'm concerned, get as much cash over the table as you can for them and get them out the door, thank them for their service, and then give them a boot up the jacksie as they go. That's my mantra. But we need to get this ironed out. Rashford is a part of the puzzle. We need to wait for Manchester United. Apparently, we don't have any sort of recourse in that. I guess it's difficult because if there was another team that expressed interest, and I'm hearing that Fulham are one of the teams. I mean, I said yesterday about if you had two teams that were expressing an interest in you between Man United and Fulham in terms of the worldwide prestige, in terms of the fact that Manchester United are a Champions League club, and I'm not even sure Fulham qualified for Europe, did they? So why would you go to Fulham? Well, I guess probably a couple of reasons why you might is if you believed you weren't ready, maybe for that step up to Champions League football yet. Maybe CRYSENCIO Summerville thinks he needs a little bit more time to mature before he gets that big move. Maybe it's a case of he quite likes London life. Maybe it's a case of he's a former Leeds player and he understands that going to Manchester United would probably make him public enemy number one in the eyes of Leeds fans, and maybe he still has a good relationship with them. I don't know. But as I say, from what I understand, he does want to go there. So, but I'll say the problem that creates is that if Manchester United are sort of like saying, well, you need to hang on before we get sort of like the money together. I think if Fulham come in with a bid, I think we need to go to Summerville and say, listen, mate, Man United are dicking around. We don't know how long. We don't know. I mean, there's every possibility Marcus Rashford might. I don't know what his contract situation is. I mean, if he's got another couple of years on his contract, he might do what a lot of footballers do and just say, do you know what, I'm quite happy to sit here and let you pay me. And if you want to loan me out, that's fine. I've gone out to Barcelona and Aston Villa, respectively, in the last 2 seasons, and I'm quite happy to do that again. I doubt he'd come to us, but that would be a decent signing, Rashford. But he's never coming. He's not going to go from Barcelona playing Champions League football to coming playing in Championship, I guess. But there was a few people that said, there was one person on a previous video said, well, because I asked the question about if Summerville goes to Man United, who would you want in part exchange if we could sort of like leverage in a cash plus player deal, even if it was just on a loan. And someone said Harry Maguire, and I actually think that's quite a decent shout. To be fair, I think that is something's just popped up on my phone there. Let me just get rid of that. There we go. That's the beauty of doing these videos, and little things like that just sort of pop up and just distract you from your train of thought. So Harry Maguire, that'd be an interesting one, because when you stop and think about it, we're going to need cover at centre back. He probably is had his best days behind him now. Would he come to West Ham? I mean, again, he would be leaving Champions League football. He'd be leaving Premier League football to come and play in the Champ. But could that be? I mean, sort of like I say, someone suggested it. I think it's probably pie in the sky, if I'm being brutally honest. Stranger things have happened, though. And in terms of the leadership he would bring, because I think that, let's just suppose for a minute, that is feasible, that Harry Maguire could be tempted to come to London Stadium in, a Championship West Ham. One of the things he would absolutely bring, as well as that experience, as well as that defensive know-how, the ability to pop up and score important goals from set pieces. One of the things that he also undoubtedly brings with him that we, if we're being completely honest about it, we absolutely lack is leadership qualities. He's absolutely, for me, and this could put a few people's noses out of joint, but I would probably make him the captain if and like I say, I'm not saying this is even a rumor that's out there. This is just coming off of a comment, and I'm just sort of like letting my imagination run away with me. So just indulge me and just get your comments in as well. Harry Maguire, it'd be a bit like when we got relegated in 2011 when Avram Grant was in charge, and obviously he got kicked into touch. Sam Allardyce took up the mantle in the Championship season. And one of his first signings, was Kevin Nolan, because he obviously knew what Kevin would bring to the party. He'd obviously worked with him before, principally at Bolton. I think they were probably together in Sam's spell at Newcastle, if I remember correctly. Sam recognised what Nolan brought to the table in terms of leadership, because Sam knew that he was going to be losing Scott Parker, and obviously that leadership potential. The captain that previous season, the relegation season, wasn't actually Scott Parker, as a lot of people think he was, although he was our leader without an armband, but our captain that season was actually Matthew Upson. Now, so we went into that championship season without a lot of leadership qualities and all the rest of it, and Sam knew that they were critical to getting us promoted at the first time of asking, and we're back here again. So if Jared Bowen moves on, we're going to need a new captain. That's a certain fact. But even if Jared Bowen doesn't move on, and I guess this probably all hinges on Jared now, lots of subplots that are going on here in this video, but would Jared be quite happy to remain captain? Would him being asked if he's happy to carry on that role, what sort of answer would that elicit? Now, if he turns around and says that actually he doesn't feel that he wants to carry on in that role with the best will in the world, and in walks Harry Maguire through the door, well, there's your captain. There is your captain. Like I say, it's complete pie in the sky. I don't want people to say, oh, Gatesy's saying that Harry Maguire is coming to West Ham. I'm not. This literally just comes off of a comment that someone's made in a video that I've done in the last couple of days. I thought it was an interesting one. As I say, my son said Joshua Zirkzee. And I think that could be an interesting one. Someone that's, I think it's fair to say he's not pulled up any trees at Manchester United. But if I remember rightly, I think they got him from Bologna. I'm pretty sure they got him from Bologna. And previously to that, was he at Ajax or PSV? I'm not. Do you like my Dutch accent there? I went a little bit Steve McLaren there, of course. PSV, PSV, whatever. You say potato, I say potato. Joey Barton was another one, wasn't he? When he went to Marseille, he put on this crap French accent. I mean, it was like watching an episode of Only Fools and Horses. Mange tout, mange tout. But yeah, anyway, just some food for thought for you. I mean, like I say, CRYSENCIO Summerville, the 40 million quid thing, as I understand it, that clause is only relevant if the club that are purchasing him are paying 40 million quid in one hit. If they want to stagger the payments over the period of the contract, then, as I understand it, that 40 million quid release clause doesn't apply. So maybe we could get the 60 million quid. And if it's Man United, if it's not, like I say, if they're going to bugger us about by saying, oh, well, you need to wait for Marcus to listen, we need to do things. And if Fulham are sort of coming in and saying, well, we'll put the money on the table, we've got it, the finances, we can make it happen. And if we could sort of like maybe convince the CRYSENCIO Summerville wanting to go to Manchester United is a complication, because I guess if he's got his heart set on that, then it probably forces us into a position where maybe we do have to wait for Man United. Either that, or we keep CRYSENCIO Summerville for next season, which I wouldn't be averse to. The only thing is that is he going to sort of go around with a crap attitude and be a bit of a, it's like when a player doesn't want to be there in the dressing room, it can cause a little bit of a bad atmosphere. So let me know your thoughts. Get them in the comment section below. There's quite a lot to unpack there, but that's what happens when I start sort of waffling on. My brain goes off in all sorts of different directions and tangents, and where we start is not necessarily where we're going to end, sort of thing. And we've covered a lot of things. So get it all in the comment section below. If you appreciate the content here on the West Ham Massive, gently tap the thumbs up button. As I say, I believe that the hype for a channel of my size is redundant. If you can give us a hype, that's great. If it doesn't allow you to do it, it's not the end of the world. If you do also new around here, or if you're someone that has watched my content a little bit but have not felt compelled to subscribe, I really would appreciate if you could subscribe by getting your mobile device out, and in the top left hand corner, if the editing's gone correctly, there will be a QR code, and if you can scan that, it takes you to the YouTube subscription page. Subscribing is free of charge, it is data safe, it only helps to grow the channel into something bigger. There's nothing nefarious going on, I absolutely assure you of that, and we appreciate you for your support. And why not consider sharing this onto your social media platforms as well, to let other people know that we're here doing some stuff. Anyway, look, I'm going to leave you. My car's all charged up, so I can get off about my Sunday afternoon, and I wish you the rest of the weekend. Hope it all goes well for you. Take care. Come on, you irons.